Welcome back for part 2 on the What's the BPM? Paul Glazby. Little bit not so rushed this time, thank God, as last time. If you watched the vlog before this, you'll understand. But mate, thanks for joining us. You're just about to play, what's that gig called?
It's Lucifer's, I don't know, what is it called?
Yeah, I'm thinking of the flyer.
Some hard house gig.
It's a hard house gig, yeah.
A Prohibition nightclub.
Prohibition in Fortescue Valley, yeah. But what is it? It's Lucifer's like 25th anniversary.
Something like that,
tour,
yeah.
I asked the same question earlier. I actually don't know.
Ben, we were just talking to Ben Stevens. He just told us. But anyway. Yeah, it's going to be a good gig.
We're having a senior
it's
moment.
Pretty rocking down there already. But yeah, man, last podcast was a bit of a rush. We were, I got stuck in traffic on the way down, and I wanted to just sort of cover a little bit more about your early days.
Yeah.
So, like, you've started getting a few gigs. We're just jumping in now, but you've started getting a few gigs. At what point do you go, oh, wow, I've got like a calendar full of bookings? Like, do you remember that moment?
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't that long. I mean, I can't remember if we said it on the last podcast, but so I did my first, I mean, I'd been playing in and around Sheffield. I played Birmingham, but I got to the point where I thought, this is not, the Birmingham gig did 2 events and then it folded. And I was just thinking, you know, I'm sort of ready for, I've got to move on to something else. That was at Christmas, 99. And then Tom from Insomniacs reached out to me early 2000 and said, I'm in control of Insomniacs. I want you to come and play. You're doing the last set in the last Sunday in January. You've got the last set. Because most promoters had put an unknown like me on first, and I would have to work my way through the ranks. But for me, he knew what I played like, and that was the sound that he wanted. And he understood well enough that, you know, if he'd got, I mean, the lineups he was doing at the time, there used to be 4 DJs on. Back then, there was just 4 DJs. You'd have like maybe Jez and Charlie. Well, in fact, no, they would have been on then. It would have been, I can't even think who, but you'd have the likes of Ann Savage, Tidy Boys, BK, you know, like big names, following each other. And then, but he knew if I was going to be on the lineup that I needed to be on after all those guys, because I was just going to drill it more than, you know, any of the people before. So he said, you're doing 10 till 12. That was the last Sunday in January 2000. Well, by September, I'd done the Insomniacs, or Insomnia, should I say, album for Tidy Tracks. I had an international gig in Canada in the October, and I launched Vicious Circle in the December. So my calendar, by the time I got to probably June, July, I was doing 2 or 3 gigs a week. And by the end of the year, going into 2001, that's when I would have been doing 4, 5, 6 gigs a week. So it all happened like
pretty quickly. Yeah.
Super quick.
When did you start touring in Australia? Because I remember seeing you, I think 2003 or 4.
Yeah, 2001 was the first time I went out there. Yeah, so we launched Vicious Circle in December 2000. I did a gig actually. So Odyssey from he did the Enchanted Forest gigs and the System 6. Yeah. So he'd actually booked me for Australia.
Yeah.
But then a gig came in for New Zealand. Me and Lee Haslam. It was like a Tidy Tracks thing. We went over and did New Zealand, and we literally flew in, landed Friday morning, played Friday night, Saturday night, and then flew back Sunday. That would have been 2001. And we did a Gatecrasher tour as well. That was Australia and New Zealand. I think that was after. I think that would have been 2002. And I played for Christian in 2000. I'm sure the first time I went to Australia was 2001. So like literally a year later. But by the time I went to Australia, we'd got Vicious Circle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 had been released. Yeah. Because we were doing 1 a month, and the first one came out in December 2000. So by June 2001, we were up to Vicious Circle 7. And because of the people that, you know, like we had the likes of, you know, R.R. Fierce, Andy Farley, Steve Thomas, Pants and Corset, Ufex, you know, there was some Karim,
sick.
Like all the big names were like on the label in the first few releases.
Early
So
days of RR Fierce.
yeah,
Yeah. Amazing stuff. I was listening to his tunes in the car today with Steve.
yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
So good.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Ben Stevens. We did a podcast last night while he was here, and we was just saying about some of the stuff that he did with Tim Rib.
So good.
Like on
Yeah.
I Thank You Elvis, Street Tab,
Yeah.
Progressive Llama.
Street Tab. That's
Amazing,
right.
like incredible. And like, I mean,
timeless as well. Like absolutely
well, that's
timeless.
it. 1996, 97,
Yeah.
they came out, and I'm going to play them tonight.
It's unbelievable production too. Like,
Well, I was talking to Frank Farrell. I was in the studio with him when I was back in England a couple of weeks ago, and we were saying about that I Thank You Elvis, and he said the amount of times he's tried to emulate that track because it's there's not much to it, but it's amazing. Like a lot of the Tin Rib stuff, there was loads of layers to it. You know, there was like you kind of can't work out what sound is working with the other, and it's but the I Thank You Elvis, there's not that much to it, but it's
very,
just
very simple, isn't it?
Incredible.
And even Street Tab's super simple as well.
Yeah, but that's got those two kind of layers that sort of phase across each other, and you kind of like, you're going, what's doing what there? But it's, just
timeless
amazing.
music. Eh?
And Frank's an amazing producer, and he's like, he can't recreate it, you know.
A lot of their stuff back then, though, from my understanding, like production-wise, was outboard. I don't know if RR was producing outboard, like
I don't know,
but yeah, I think obviously these days everything's inside the box, so I'm not sure if that plays an impact.
Well, I mean, there's certainly, like Ben was saying last night, back then they had like, I don't know, 8 channels that they could work with, whereas now you could have 1,000 channels if you want, you know, like you'd have so much going on, which is good, but then it gets, you know, the tracks get complicated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But they had like, especially Tim Rib, he had a knack of creating tracks that sounded like there was a lot more going on than there actually was. Like Frank was explaining to me, like a lot of the Tim Rib tracks where he'd always tried to decipher what was going on.
Yeah.
Then he said when he went in the studio with John at Captain Tim Rib, and he's like, fucking hell, it's easy. Like, it's simple what you're doing, but it just, the way that you do it makes it sound complicated.
Yeah.
Less is more, hey?
Less is more.
Yeah.
And he did that so well. I remember, because I turned 18 in 2002. So I was too young to go to RR's last gig in Australia.
Yeah.
Because he obviously, as he passed away up in Noosa,
yeah.
which is where I live.
Is that where it was, Noosa?
Noosa, yeah. And I remember when it actually happened as well, because I was, you know, going underage night clean back in the day, but never got to go to that event. I think that was a System 6 as well, by the way.
Yeah.
And my brother was right into his music in a very big way. So when that happened, he was devastated.
Yeah.
Because he used to DJ as well. So, yeah.
I can still remember where I was when I found out. Like, I was down. So we used to run Vicious Circle from the back bedroom. I had a 3-bedroom house, and then we had one of the back bedrooms. We had the deck set up there, and then it was like, that's where we ran everything from. There's boxes of records everywhere. And Scott, who used to be with me all the time, used to work at Vicious Circle. He was upstairs, and I was downstairs, like sort of leaning on the front window sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he came down, he's like, Johnny's dead. And I'm like, waiting for the punchline. You know, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, just had a message from Odyssey. Or someone in Australia had emailed him, and it's like, fuck. And then I rang Andy Farley, and Andy Farley drove up, and me, Scott, and Andy like just went to this Thai restaurant, and we were just like in a daze, you know, like we couldn't make sense of it.
What, did he get caught in a rip or something?
Yeah, I think he'd had a few beers, gone out on a bodyboard, and then just got washed away.
Yeah, never came back. I don't know if they even found his body.
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah,
it's terrible.
Yeah, it was,
man, dangerous in the south.
And when you think like the tracks that, because we, like after the dust settled a little bit, and I was talking to Sonia, his wife at the time, and there were so many good tracks to come out, and it's like, you know, do we put them out on Vicious Circle, or then we carried Fierce Technique on, and so we did all that, you know, and then any proceeds from those tracks just obviously went to her. So
that's amazing.
That's amazing. But it's just that music had to
come to light out.
Yeah. And you just think and when you listen to the stuff that came out after he passed away, it was some of his best, because the stuff he did with Tim Rib was amazing, and then the stuff he did on his own earlier on was good, but the stuff that came out after he passed away was his best stuff.
That was like Rock the Spot, Tamia,
Tamer, Yamamba. I think Tamer might have come out. I can't remember if that came out before he passed, but but Yamamba certainly came out after he died because we had it.
Yeah.
Because we spoke. I think at the time we'd got him because that was Vicious Circle 10.
Yeah.
So that would have been coming out at the time.
Yeah.
When he passed away, and I remember speaking to Sonia and saying, like, do we need to hold this back? And she's like, no, just let it go. And he
was really, really highly regarded, wasn't he, in the scene? Like,
well, no, to be honest, at the time, not enough. Like, I don't think people really. There's not enough people knew even who he was.
Wow.
At the time, like it wasn't like like when Tony DeVee passed away, and there was like 5,000 people.
Really?
Like, me and my mates went and stood outside the church when he at his funeral. Yeah. And then I went to Johnny's funeral, and there was a few people there, but he kind of, his name really started to I guess like a lot of artists, like when they pass away, then they become more more renowned.
They see the value, don't they?
Yeah. Everyone speaks really highly of him. If you're talking to anyone who knows anything about this scene or works in the business, they always speak really highly of him. I remember I interviewed DJ Thief. He said he was a legend, such a good guy.
Yeah.
He was the same, devastated when he found out he passed away. But
it's crazy. I'm like pretty close with Nick Fryer, Sentience. And he always, because we did a few tracks together, and he'd always talk about RR. It's like, mate, his music's just the best. Like, the pinnacle.
Well, actually, I'll tell you a story about Nick. He, when he found out we were doing Fierce Technique, so he reached out and said, "Is there anything I can do? Like, is there a track? I'll just remix it for free." So he ended up remixing Neuronex, on Vicious Circle, and just did that for free. Obviously, that meant that because he would have been charging £1,000 for a remix back then. So that was £1,000 extra that went to Sonia because we didn't get deducted from the royalties. So
legend.
Really. Like, I always remember that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And but he was the only one that did.
Put his hand up for it.
No.
Wasn't Nick living on the Gold Coast for a while?
No, Nick was my friend Tristan, who I used to be in a duo with, TC. Yeah. Tristan Cameron, Australian-based dude.
Shout out TC.
Yeah, shout out TC, legend of a guy, good friend of mine. Anyway, so he was living on the Gold Coast at the time with his partner Jody and Nikki S. Which is Nick's former wife. Jody was Nikki's sister. So that's how Nick came out and spent a lot of time with Tristan on the Gold Coast.
Right.
And because of Nikki's family, basically. Right. So, but
well, I was sat with Nick and Nikki in St Kilda.
Oh yeah,
outside a cafe back in 2003, 2004.
Yeah,
and I can't remember how it came into the conversation, but they, like, our ages came up.
Yeah.
And they were, at the time, they were like 22, 23.
Really? Yeah.
And I would have been, so let's say it was 2004. So I would have been about 25, 26.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, we thought you were like 35. And I'm like, what? And
because you've been around so long.
Well, that was the thing, because they said, well, we got into the scene and you were like just a household name.
Yeah,
and you had
that's right.
The Vicious Circle and all this. So they thought, they put me in the same sort of bracket as like Farley and Steve Thomas and, all these other guys that were kind of 10 years older.
Yeah.
And I guess back then I probably looked older than I was. So yeah, they just thought I was.
Well, when I first saw you, Paul, I remember I was first seeing, because obviously the music you produce is pretty obviously banging and dark.
Yeah.
And so I'm used to hearing that sort of stuff. And so when I first saw you, didn't see you on any posters. When I first saw you live, big sort of stocky dude, and I'm like, that guy looks tough. And then when I first met you, I was like, in 2010, I met you. I was like, this guy's actually a really soft dude. He looks tough as hell.
Yeah, well, the amount of people, since I started my podcast, the amount of people that I get messages every week saying, "Oh my God, I always thought you were a complete cockhead," but like, because I always had that, that whole thing of just not, and it wasn't. I just always felt like the guys that I used to go and watch. So, Steve Thomas,
Tony
DeVee, E&M,
yeah.
like
yeah.
they wouldn't even look up
Yeah.
when they're playing. Like it's
head down. Eh?
yeah, that's what you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, that's what you do when you're DJing. And I was talking to, I think it might have been Andy and Ammo when I went on their podcast a couple of weeks ago about, in hindsight, maybe that's my mixing style came from, because I always just wanted to be busy.
Yeah.
You know, like, so if you mix in late and you're waiting for that track and you're waiting for your mix point, so I just used to just drop it in early and then just, you know, like mix the bass lines and
that not stood around.
So I'm not stood around. So like people can't go, oh, you know, smile, because I'm like, I'm busy, you know, like, so maybe that's how it came about.
Hey, funny you say that. I was listening to a podcast with, do you know Mark Archer from Alternate? Really old school rave
I know
act.
the name, yeah.
He did a boiler room gig, I think in like 2020 or something like that. And he said, like, when you've got cameras on you, there's like multiple cameras, there's people stood behind you, there's a crowd right in front of you. And he said, you cue a track up on a CDJ in like 10 seconds. He said, there's not a lot to do.
Yeah.
And he said, like, so people like complain and say, oh, you know, you're always touching the mixer like it's burning your fingers. He said, you're literally just trying to look like you're doing something. Otherwise you just stand there like, you know, look out to the crowd. Like, I've
actually thought, I mean, that whole thing about being able to, you know, mix on a CDJ in a couple of seconds, like what I've found is you know, I might be playing at 153.3, you know, and you can put that, you know, you select your track, and I mean, now it's USB, you select your track and, pardon me, you go, you know, you just 153.3, right, we're in.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not right. And what you find is your eyes are telling you that it's right, but this track starts to drift. For some reason, it's not true. So then you and it's a weird thing, because your ears are telling you it's wrong.
Yeah.
Your eyes are telling you it's right. Now, when I was back in the UK, I did a live stream with Amber D.
I've watched that.
That is good.
So she said, right, we're going to do the first hour on vinyl. And I'm like,
sick.
I don't have any vinyl. What do you think? She went, no, well, you will just use mine. She said, I'll sort all your tracks out, all the Vicious Circle stuff. I'll make sure everything's cleaned up. You know, like, I'll have it all ready for you. I went, okay, no worries. Well, I'd not touched vinyl for nearly 14 years.
Yeah.
She said that.
Yeah.
During the live stream, eh?
Because the last time I played vinyl was when I did my 10-hour set, which was February 2012.
Holy hell.
So I get there and I'm like, okay, well, you know, done this enough times, but it's been a while. So I mixed this first track in, and then, you know, fine. But then the one I'm mixing out of was scratched, so it jumped. I was like, fuck it. So, but what I found is once, you know, a couple of mixes in, that the pitch control on a 1210, it's different. It feels different.
100%.
And
because they're the newer ones, hey. Did she have the like newer model Technics?
I'm not sure, but all I mean is that even on any 1210, that pitch control just feels different to a CDJ.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
So mixing, and I used to sort of pride myself on putting the record on, dropping it in, and then never touching it again. It's just all pitch control from there. Yeah. And I remember once I was playing the foyer at Brixton Academy. Yeah. You know, the hard room. Yeah. And Tara Reynolds, who, you know, at the time was probably the top 5 female DJs, hard house DJs in the world.
For sure.
And she stood at the side, and I'm, you know, track on, needles, drop it in, and then just ride the pitch. Maybe, you know, 8 beats, maybe 16, and then I'm bringing it in. And I did a few, and then she looked and she went, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know, I just do it. But what I found is when I was playing at Amber's and I'm riding the pitch and my eyes are not giving me any feedback, I'm like, this is what it feels like. So now I'm thinking, when I play, I need to make myself a couple of little bits of card that I can just stick over the things. And then just work the pitch. That's, you know, take the eyes out of it.
Your eyes deceive you, don't they?
Yeah.
Especially what you're hearing, and then you're looking at that.
That's what I mean.
I've experienced that as well. And you're absolutely right. Like the differences between Technics, as you know, using vinyl, as opposed to on a CDJ, it's just miles apart.
Yeah.
And even just the top wheel, like if you're trying to touch the wheel, even that feels completely different to a Technics, you know, mixing on vinyl, which I personally believe is much more fun, to be fair with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, miles different. But actually, it's a good question for you. What's your take on the whole, vinyl versus CDJ digital? What's your take on where things are at in the world right now?
It's pretty incredible. Like my USB stick's got maybe 400 tracks on it, which is probably not a lot compared to most people. But the last 10 years, I've been doing classic sets because I didn't really care about DJing anymore. Like someone will say, "Okay, you come play this gig," and sometimes I'll say yes, sometimes I'll say no. And when I do it, I enjoy it while I'm there, but I don't really think about it before. And once I've done it, that's what it had been like up until 12 months ago. So I'd had, I think it was 97 tracks I'd got. So for the last 10 years, I've been playing the same 97 tracks. Like sometimes I'll play some different ones. Like if I'm doing an hour, then you're only playing what?
10 tracks, if that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, now, and I actually said to, who was it now? There was someone, it might have been Tara actually. There was a text message thread, and I saw that I'd said to her, if I never play again, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
That was back in 2002 or 2003. And it was true at the time. But then, because through doing that, going back and doing Insomniacs last year, then making some new music, and then doing more and more and more and more. And then the podcast as well. And, having all my sort of, DJ friends on, that's just really got me back into it. So now I've got, a shitload more tracks on the USB.
So good.
But to go back to what you were saying, to carry 400 records around, it'd be a fucking nightmare. You just can't do it. So that's the advantage. I think the CDJs, if you had when I did Glazby Time, which was a 5-hour set that I did. Well, it was a 4-hour set, and I did an hour back-to-back with Tom, the promoter. I did a back-to-back. I wanted to do back-to-back with her for an hour just because it's like a bit of a full circle moment that, 26 years after I started in Sheffield, I'm then playing back-to-back with his daughter. And I played a track that I did with my daughter, so it's just this whole thing now.
That's really cool.
But there was because we're not used to playing together, and she'd got at some point she'd got the beat sync turned on. So I'm mixing and I can hear it drift, I can hear it going, and I'm trying to chase it, but I'm moving and it's not doing anything because I didn't realize she got that turned on. So there's a lot of stuff that I guess is making the art of DJing more obsolete.
Yeah.
And I guess, once you know that one artist has gone up at Tomorrowland and danced around to a pre-recorded set, then, the fans, the audience start to think, well, maybe everyone's doing that.
Yeah.
Whereas the people that are into what I do, they know. That's why, like when I did the Insomniacs gig, it was amazing. There's over 1,000 people there, amazing club. But then when we did Glazby Time the week after, that was at the club that I very first started at. Tom didn't know. He booked the venue. He didn't even know. I'm like, mate, you do realize that's where I started. So we did this gig, and the front row were as close as you. So as I'm bringing the bass in, I can see the reaction in the in their eyes, and so that's what I sort of thrive on, and that's what the people that are into what I do, that's what they expect, and that's what they appreciate.
It's like the art, isn't it? Really, it's the art and the passion behind the music. It's not just DJs. Shouldn't say these, but some DJs these days play only for the crowds, because it brings in the money. But for me, and maybe I'll correct me if I'm wrong here, Paul, but the art and the expression of playing stuff that you really love, and people hopefully will fall in love with that too.
Well, that's it, and that's all I've ever done.
Yeah.
I've never played for the crowd.
Too,
I've just played what I like, and I've just been really lucky that people like what I play.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think a feature that they should bring in on the CDJs or on the controllers or whatever is a button that just turns off that display.
Yeah.
And when it turns off, there's a big projection on the front saying, real DJ.
Yeah. We're actually doing something.
We're actually working. But I'll tell you a funny story. So I've been DJing for 20 hold on. I started when I was 27, nearly 28 years.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you know the term phrasing?
Yeah.
Do you know what phrasing means?
Yeah, that's the
like where you're going to drop it, you know, like how,
yeah.
So just randomly on Instagram, I saw this kid doing this video and he got a track kind of like drawn out,
Yeah.
you know, like, so it was
the waveform.
yeah, like essentially, but pretty basic. So he got like the intro, then he got like the main part of the, before the break, and then the breakdown was kind of like down, you know, smaller, and then the break, you know, the main riff,
the chorus,
and then
part,
break, and what he was doing, he got these two different sort of, and he's like, you know, if you drop it here, this is where it's gonna, you know, the bass will drop out here and blah blah blah. But if you mix it here, and I'm like, I've never heard that term before, phrasing. And then when I was doing the set with Amber D, and she said, "Oh my God, I just love your phrasing." And I'm like, I'm so glad I'd seen that Instagram thing, because I would have been like, what do you mean? Because in my day, we just called it where you drop it.
Yeah, totally. Where are you going to drop the bass? Yeah.
It's kind of like Northern Exposure, the CD. If you remember the Sasha and D Greed album, when you open that up, it had the like tracks and how long they were mixing for.
Ah, right, okay.
So cool.
Right, yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know about you, and it's probably a good question for you, but personally, what I've been seeing lately is a lot of DJs, you know, they might play a track for like 3 minutes max, and they just get the bulk of the, you know, instead of back in the day, or maybe even now, we just take people on a journey where we, you know, mix a track, bass drops, let that track play out essentially until you mix in the new bass line. But I'm seeing a lot of DJs now, they just basically just drop basses, cut. It's really short and sharp, you know.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I just think, you know, when I make a track, there's kind of a purpose. There's a reason why that part is there and that part is there. And that, so if you start chopping that up in the, like in the mix, then, you know, you're sort of bastardizing. It's like, you know, if you had a piece of art and then you go, oh, no, I'll just chop that part off, and then you just frame the top corner, you know, like it's a little bit like that.
Fully, yeah.
But I mean, I guess the problem is my generation love, you know, I've been sort of joking about this hashtag bring back the 3 minute build up, because this new wave, we've got kind of two hard scenes running at the minute. You've got the old, you know, like the old guard, me, Farley, E&M, Tidy Boys, whatever, Lisa Lashes. But then you've got all these new artists. So I can't even think of any of the names, but, you know, like the younger ones, Hannah Lang, Bayer, you know, whoever it might be, that are playing. To the untrained ear, you go, oh yeah, it's just the same. But it's, you know, it's 150 to 160 BPM. The beats are the same. A lot of the stuff I'm hearing seems like people were listening to hard style, and then went, no, this sounds shit, let's make it sound more like hard house. Because, you know, the way that it's sort of like the beats just drop, and then it's just like a little riff comes in, and then boom, it's off again. That seems to me, I never got into hard style, so I don't know, but that, like, just the sounds that they used, and the you know, the bass, it was like very boom, 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 rather than like in hard house where you've got more of a groove.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's like
all the elements work together. Yeah.
So it's like hard style, but with a hard house groove. Yeah. That's what it.
I know exactly what you mean.
You've got these two scenes that are running, but the problem is, well, not problem, but the attention span of the kids that are into they're not going to stand around for, you know, if I play...
they're not playing,
you know, if I play Who Killed Kenny or Sacrilege or fucking, you know, any of these like tracks that literally have this massive build, they're just going to fall asleep.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe it is the attention spans, and obviously social media playing a part of that. I mean, with my kids, I try to keep them off social media as much as possible, because I can see that it damages their attention spans because of the amount of, you know, swiping that they're currently doing. Maybe it's the same sort of thing, Paul. Maybe
Well, that is exactly it. I think, TikTok generation, that's what BK
TikTok,
said.
Yeah.
It's the music for the TikTok generation.
Yeah, music for TikTok generation. And it's interesting because, we've come from that earlier scene where it's all about the journey. It's taking people on an escape, essentially, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's like when I did Glazby time last week, there's a track, I don't even know how old it is. It could be years old, but there's a kid called Leon Allen who's done a few tracks. He's from England, but he lives here now. He'll be there tonight. It'll be the gig tonight.
Oh, see.
And he did a track.
What's his name? Leon
Allen.
Allen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can't even remember what the track's called. It's like "Do What You Want" or something. But it's not something I would normally play. But it's got this like female vocal in it that kind of just like, it's quite haunting.
Yeah.
And I played that, but then mixed Deep Swarm into it. So I
Deep
did like
Swarm,
a nice long mix.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just that sort of, I don't even know how to put it. I was listening to someone the other day and they were saying about with DJing, when you're going from track to track, it's like and when I heard him say it, I thought, yeah, I'd never actually consciously thought about it, but they were saying it's like an energy transfer. You know, like if you go from something that's sort of quite, like rolling and
Drivey.
Yeah, like a you get some stuff that's like sort of just repetitive and just keep going, but then you bring something in that's like too harsh straight away.
Yeah.
It like jolts people.
Totally.
Like you've got to sort of transition proper. Like, so that track might, you can mix that in, but is it gonna, is the energy gonna be right?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that because like I said, when I heard him say it, I'm like, fuck yeah, they've nailed that.
Mm.
And then I was thinking about what I do, and I'm like, I think I kind of do that subconsciously,
Yeah.
So
I think, and look, I've heard you play a few times, mate, and I've heard a lot of your mixes, obviously, as well, Paul. And you do your mixing's always clean and tight and simple. It's like that less is more approach, I guess you would say, as a DJ in terms of your mixing style and the transitions of when you hear the bass drop. It's never jerky. It's just smooth and clean.
Yeah.
So I can relate. I can understand that when you hear tracks that sort of kick in. There's the energy jolt experience that's not always good because it's like, oh, I don't like that. But come from a nice clean driving bass to something that's a bit more donk donk or something weird. Just it can lose the dance floor, I guess.
But then sometimes, like you've got the like for me, I never like to have any what I call dead beats, so when basically you've dropped it so late that the bass has dropped out on this one, and then you're waiting 20-30 seconds for the bass to kick in on the next one. But sometimes there's a time and place for that as well. Because like if you've been really going, just giving people that little bit of like a reprieve where they're just like, what's happening next? Boom, 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 boom,
totally.
So
just to shake them up a little bit.
Yeah. But I remember when I started Insomniacs and I'd listened to some of like the other DJs, and the amount of times that I would hear, and I'm not going to name any names, but like the amount of times I'd hear dead beats, and I'm like, fuck, that's too much. You
constant.
Yeah, every mix. It'd be like there'd be this 20-second gap before the bass line came in next time, and that didn't make any sense.
How and Steve, jump in, mate, whenever you.
No, I'm just listening. I'll
get us another beer in a sec as well. What's your
I'll just slide under the table over to the fridge.
What's your take on the whole, like, some international superstar DJs like, Paul Oakenfold as an example. Some of the bigger names, Digweed. I mean, they're amazing artists, but at the same time, sometimes their technical ability isn't always on point. Like I've heard them mixing, and it's like fucking Rave. Like,
I wouldn't include Digweed in that. But
no, maybe not Digweed, but I have heard mixes sometimes where it's just all over the joint. So I guess my question to you is, what's your take on the technical ability of a DJ? How important is it really?
Well, I mean, for me, it's the thing, like it's but it's everything. Like the ability is the track selection, the maintaining the energy, that whole energy transfer thing throughout the set, so that people feel like they've, it's a little bit like if you're driving on a motorway and then you get to like, I remember like for me driving on the M1, and I used to come off at junction 31. So you get on the M1 and you'd be junction 1 in London and you'd be driving north. And sometimes I might get to like junction 27. I'm like, fuck, I can't remember how I can't, because you kind of zone out.
True.
But for people to be like on the dance floor and be like, get to a particular feeling, but like, how did I get from there to there? They don't know how it happened, kind of thing. That's probably not the best analogy, but
no, I get it. No, 100%. Yeah.
being able to
totally agree.
sort of do that so that, yeah, I mean, the mixing, like I used to really beat myself up if I, and sometimes it might not even be my fault. Like there's my 10-hour set that I did that's on YouTube when I did my retirement. There's 3 points in that mix that the mixers fuck up, and it's because this fucking kid who was off his face kept banging into the scaffolding that the DJ box was on. I think he did it twice, and there might have been one that jumped because I was playing vinyl, so I think one of the vinyls jumped. But I fucking hate, like,
totally.
That. But there'd be times where I would, for whatever reason, I'd fucking mix up. Yeah. And Scott, we'd be driving, 2 hours later, I'd be like, I can't fucking believe. Yeah. And you've not dropped a mix for 3 months. They said that's hundreds of mixes, and you beat. I'm like, yeah, but I never want it to be wrong. Like, so for me, trying to get to one track. Like when I first got into dance music, I used to go to this club that was really like a house club, but then we'd go back to the after parties and we'd be listening to hard house. Yeah. And it was like Turner de Vie live in Tel Aviv, Trade 4, Trade 3. Yeah. We'd be listening to those mixes, and I was so green. Yeah. I couldn't tell. It was like one long track. I couldn't tell where one track started and one finished, I listen to it now, I'm like, well, I can hear the, like it's obvious now. Yeah. But that's what I want. So like when we did One from the Hard Box, I want you as a professional DJ to go, fuck, how did he get from there to there? Yeah. Like not just someone who's no idea what they're
not just an amateur, someone who really knows their shit.
Yeah.
And say, shit, that's really good.
That's what I want.
Yeah. It's the greatest compliment to finish a set and then another DJ come up and say, man, that was awesome. Because you get loads of people come up and go, that was unreal, well done. Yeah. But like from another DJ to come up and say that's awesome is the greatest compliment, I reckon.
You're absolutely right, Steve. I lived in London 2007, 2008. My mum and my dad's British, but I lived over there and I came back to Australia. Anyway, when I was over there, I wrote a couple of tracks with the Edis Factor boys, Matt and James. Yeah. And I did a track with Matt called Interstellar. And it was the first time I got in the studio with either of them. Yeah. Anyway, we wrote this track and I was really happy with it. And Matt engineered the track and I played a part in the production side of things. And then I get a phone call from James literally about 2 weeks later after it was released. Up into pre-release, but it was ready to go. Calls me up randomly. He's like, Jared, listen to this. Puts it on. He goes, this is fucking insane. My track. And I'm like, to hear James say that, I was like, thanks, man. Like that is a huge prop. Like someone of his stature to say that. It's like really just, that's why you do it, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome when you get that. I mean, I still remember the day that me and Maddox, I mean, the thing is, I don't even like the track that much anymore. I think it's just because it's a hostile.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. It's a bit of a caricature of hard house now, like it's, but
it was huge back in the day.
I was going to say, man, I remember when that came out over here.
It was huge.
Everyone was talking about it.
Everyone.
Yeah, well, when I played in Japan, like no one called me Paul Glazby. Well, in Japan, they called me Paul Glazby. And even when my royalty statements came, they spelt my name with an R, Paul Glazby, if you can believe that. But when I was DJing, I was DJing in Tokyo, and everyone was going, "Oh, Mr. Hostile." That's what they call me. So
it was brilliant.
But I remember being in the studio. So the day that we did that track, and this is how fucking random things are sometimes. A few people have asked me if, like on my podcast, if we can do specific episodes about music production. Yeah. And I was talking to Maddox, and I think we are going to do some.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really
just to sort of delve into, like how the ideas come about.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very interesting. I don't think you can get too technical because it might be a bit too dry for people, but just how the ideas come about. Yeah. And so, obviously Hostile, I knew that day I was going in to do like a big Hoover track, that was the thing. And I'd always wanted to use the fucking Hostile vocal. But on the way to the studio, I'd been listening, because I'm like a heavy metal fan at heart. Yeah. So I'd been listening to So I'd been listening to Pantera live as I was driving in. Yeah. And there was a bit in the live show where he's doing that big speech. Yeah. So, but I didn't think about it. I just
That's really cool, man.
get to the studio, do the track. A few hours later, and we were like sort of. And Maddox said, he said, we need something to put in this break.
Yeah.
He said, because that, you know, just to sort of make more of it. And I went, I think I might have something. I ran out to the car, got the CD, we, you know, ripped it in, a little bit of editing just to sort of make it fit. And we dropped it in. And then maybe an hour later, Andy and Ammo came in the studio, and they were always, you know, saying, you know, do tracks for, let's get some tracks on Tidy Tracks. But then a lot of the stuff that I did, they were like, it's not really Tidy Tracks material, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And they came in. I think it might have actually been, and I think maybe Andy came in, and then he called Ammo, and Ammo came in, and they were like, can we have this for Tidy? And I'm like, I don't think so. Boys. You know? But it's just like sometimes you just know you've got that. That goal.
And it went off, mate. It really, really went off. And I played that a lot. And I always played that.
Sorry, I've just thought of something. You know your remix of Dreams?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that was
which one?
Yeah, was that released on Tidy Tracks?
No, the
Yellow
Virgin VC.
Yeah, it was a yellow record cover.
Yeah, that's it. VC. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll cut a long story short, right? But back in the day when I was DJing, I was right into like progressive house, you know, Sasha Oakenfold, all that sort of stuff. And I used to send my demos out to all the raves, the rave promoters, hoping to get in. They used to run these things called new school rooms. So they'd have a huge event with like people like you, Sentience, just stacked lineups. But then they would have these side rooms where they would have like trance,
progressive.
But then they started doing these things called new school rooms where they'd have like 10 new school DJs. And it was just, at the time, it was like for young DJs, it was the thing to get in. Like you were in all the magazines and shit. Yeah. And I got on one rave playing prog, but my mate Ben Manley, rest in peace, he died a few years ago. He said to me, mate, I'm telling you, submit a hard house demo. Like, do it. And I was like, you know, like, I remember I was so embarrassed by it that I went and bought the records from just a random place because I didn't want the people at Central, because I used to go in and see, do you remember Matt Starr?
Yeah.
I used to go in to see Matt Starr, and I thought, I can't let him see me buying hard dance, like, because I'd just be too embarrassed. Anyway, so I went and bought like, I think 4 records, and you had to submit a 15-minute demo. I did a mix, submitted it. And then my mate Ben rung me and goes, man, I told you, check Scene Mag. So I flicking through Scene Mag, and I was on the new school lineup for, I can't remember, it was one of the Adventures or System 6. And I was like, oh, wicked.
That's sick, man.
But like, I only had like, I think I bought like a couple more records so I could do an hour set of like the hard stuff. And I'm getting to the point here, but basically I got in there and I was on at like 3 a.m. like the peak time, and I'm like, oh fuck. And the guy on before me was like slamming it, like really, like, and it was packed, and the room was jumping, and he finished with your remix of Dreams, and he was plussing it up and it was like full +8. and when he wasn't looking, because I knew it was his last record, when he wasn't looking, I kept like backing the pitch off because I'm thinking, fuck, I don't have anything this quick. And I'm backing the pitch up, and he's like kind of turning around and like, and then he like wound it up, like went like just spun the record forwards, and the place is going nuts. And I was like, fuck, I only just had enough records to play for an hour, and I put my first tune on and just emptied the dance floor, and I was so embarrassed. And like, I ended up building it up, and I got it, I got the crowd going again by the end, but still to this day, like whenever I hear your remix of Dreams, it's like,
you got PTSD,
like, shivers from it. Like, I just think, oh,
that's a good memory.
Yeah, but I never did another hard house set ever again. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's so good, man.
But it's funny when you say that you felt embarrassed about, it's like hard house has got this weird, unlike any, I mean, maybe happy hardcore, but like, I guess, yeah, because I'll probably look at happy hardcore and think it's like kids' music. But it's like hard dance. Yeah, it's just always had this. I remember reading it's like a Mixmag article, I think, about the guys that did the Global Underground CDs, and I can't remember his name, but he was like talking shit about Hard House, and I'm like, fucking hell, two of your first,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
that's
Tony
right.
DeVee
Yeah.
mixes.
Fuck, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Hard
Hard
House,
House,
like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just always had this like weird stigma. Like when
Yeah,
you look
it
at
is
the
odd, isn't it?
like the DJ Mag Top 100,
Yeah.
like you might have each year,
Yeah.
you might have 4, 5 if you're
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah.
Hard
the
House
top
DJ.
10.
Like Fergie would be in there, but Fergie's not been a Hard House DJ for a
No,
long time.
No,
you know,
that's right.
you'd have Tidy Boys, I think, made it in, Anne Savage, Lisa Lashes. I made it in twice. I did 89 and 80 or 81, I think, and then that was it. I was gone after that. So yeah, it's just such a.
It's always
like
had that sort of stigma about it, hasn't
yeah,
it?
it's like
But
it's strange.
What I still find fascinating is like even some of the newer school DJs are playing hard house. The heaps of playing heaps of band stuff or BK stuff. Even some of your stuff I hear.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's rad, but why does it still have a negative stigma if they're playing hard house but they don't say they're a hard house DJ or they don't play hard house?
Yeah,
you know, I don't understand.
Yeah, it's
I don't
weird.
think it does anymore.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, with the the Boiler Room and all those massive platforms, loads of them are playing all the old records.
Mm.
But mate, just before we get too far away, I wanted to ask you if you had any like, because I listen to your podcast and sometimes I'm driving like listening to it, just cracking up laughing. Have you got any like wild stories that you can tell us about, like, or any funny stories from like your early touring, like clubbing?
Can I tell a story without telling a name?
Yeah.
Okay. So the maddest thing that ever happened to me, well,
That's
ever
mad.
really,
Legend.
is thanks, Matt. So I was in Tokyo.
Your mates, you want to sponsor the podcast?
Yeah.
Hook us up.
Your mates. It's a good brew. So I was DJing in Tokyo, and there was another
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, mate.
another high profile DJ doing a live set. Let's narrow it down a little bit.
Similar genre.
Similar genre.
Yeah.
Don't say any names. So anyway, I played. I think he played before me, then me, but he was still in the club, and I'm like sort of renowned for I play and then I leave.
Yeah.
So I went back to the hotel, and then when I woke up, I got woken up in the morning by this like thud. It sounded like someone hammering, but it was too intermittent. Like it obviously wasn't someone hammering. It was like a bang, and then a bang, and then another gap, and then and I'm like, what the fuck? So after a bit, I got up and I opened my door and looked down the corridor, and there's this girl kind of sat with her head on her knees, like outside this room, 2 or 3 doors down. So I like looked at her, and I went back, got back in bed. This banging carried on. So I thought, what the fuck is going on? So I got up, got some clothes on, went back out, and I'm like, what's going on in there? She went, oh, they're just playing. I'm like, so anyway, the night before, I'd been told about this. I'd seen this girl, and her boyfriend was this Canadian guy who the kids in Tokyo affectionately called Mr. Shit, because he got off his face on ketamine in a club and shit himself. So Mr. Shit and my mate
That's funny.
are in this room, and it turns out that they were having a disagreement as to which was the best country, Canada, because this Mr. Shit was Canadian. Which was the best country, England or Canada? So they decided to have a wrestling match to try and settle the score. So I knock on the door, and then the door opens.
That's classic.
And my mate, he's got like long dark hair. He's like his hair's just like all over his face. He's got no shirt on. Mr. Shit is like, because he was quite a tall guy, he's like looking over the top of him through this crack in the door. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And he's like, oh, we're just trying to work out, we're just having a fight to see if Canada's better than England. Or So then the door opens, and it was literally like the Sex Pistols had been in there. Like the
Really?
fucking TV was ripped off the wall, curtains ripped down, there's coke everywhere, vodka spill, the American dollar bills everywhere, because
the-
my mate had just done a tour in America and flown straight to Tokyo. Beds upside down. the bathroom, because no one had been in the bathroom, so the bathroom's immaculate. So the rest of the hotel room is fucked. I'm like, this is fucking not good news. So I go back to my room, get dressed, pack all my shit,
Get out of there.
in the lift, get downstairs, and then there's a guy, Sam, who was the like tour manager.
Yeah.
Like he was married to this Japanese girl, spoke fluent Japanese, so he was like the interpreter for us.
Yeah.
So the lift doors open, and I walk out, and he's like, "Hey mate, everything all right?" I'm like, "I am." But he's not. He's like, "What's wrong?" So I said, "Look, he's having a fight with Mr. Shit, and his room's fucked." So we go back upstairs, and then we go sort of like, we knock on the door. They come to the door, but then somehow we all end up in the corridor, and the door closes, and there's no key to get back in. So we go back downstairs. Sam goes to reception, and he's asking for a key. Can we get let back in? Oh, but because we'd said to old mate, you stay up here. But he's like, no, I'm coming now. So he's there in reception in like trousers, no top, looking like the wild man of Borneo. And he's trying to, so Sam's speaking in Japanese to this hotel manager, but he's trying to like put his,
Far.
so this manager's like, I'll come and let you in. I'm not giving you the key. I'll come and let you in. So I just went to reception. I'm like checking out, and I just went and sat.
Yeah.
So they get in the lift, the doors close. This hotel manager's like at the front, just like, you know, the Japanese are quite, you know, dignified, aren't they? He's like, doors close. A couple of minutes later, the doors open. This guy's fucking fuming. So old mate has to, I think it works out to be like $10,000.
Holy of damage.
Yeah. He had to, basically all the American dollars that he got, he had to give to the hotel just so that they didn't call the police.
No way.
And then we're then getting on a bullet train to Osaka. And the whole way he's trying, because obviously the tour manager's like seething. And he's trying to like explain in his fucked up state that, you know, I didn't mean it.
I didn't mean it.
Yeah. It was fucking bananas.
Wow. That is a story and a half.
Shit.
What about you, Steve? What's your story? What's your funny one? Or crazy, whatever.
Like I don't know if I can tell that. Yeah, okay, I will.
You could always edit it. You might as well.
Yeah, there might be a cut here. Yeah, first time we booked Anthony Papa.
Oh yeah,
you know him.
Yeah,
you know who Anthony
Great
Papa
DJ.
is?
I know the name.
He's a really
good DJ,
famous prog house DJ. Anyway, the day of the gig, the club shut.
Right.
So we had to shift it to the Met. The Met Nightclub's like a really big like super club down the road from where we are now. And anyway, the gig was like, it was devastating because we lost all the money. We didn't, because it was before you could buy tickets online and that, and we didn't do pre-sold tickets. It was like probably 2000 and
I remember that gig, dude.
Yeah, I don't know, like 2005 or something, 2006.
2006,
and
I think it was.
yeah, we used to just used to do everything on the door because it was easier. So we paid him heaps of money to get him whilst he was on that tour. So we lost all that money, and we were kind of like, we were happy it went ahead at the Met, but we were, you know, we were kind of drowning our sorrows whilst the gig was happening. But we did it in a downstairs room, packed, absolutely going off, and there was there was a girl there. She was just flirting with everyone, and she was probably about 30, like attractive, like really attractive, but she was being so like, what's the word? Like, you know, she was just like jumping on everyone. It was like kind of putting all the blokes off. Like if she had to just kind of, you know, danced up next to him, she would have had guys all over her, but she was being really like just way too forward, and everyone was kind of a bit spooked by it. Like, and at that gig, because of his name, there was like young guys that were into music, but then there was also like kind of an older crowd there as well that were, you know, probably like Sasha fans from way back, and there was like a like kind of like a hobo dude in the crowd, and he was like shirt off, you know, covered in sweat, like scrawny as, like looked pretty methy. And so she's like kind of running out of options. We're watching this all from the booth, and like my wife Tammy is there, and she's like, "Don't you go near that girl!" Like, and so we were all kind of like,
understandable,
just staying away from her. And she's dancing away. And next thing you see her, she's like, with the like hobo looking dude, and he's like kind of going, "Oh yeah," like she's all over him, and then next thing they're kissing and pashing, and like by this point it was kind of like a bit of a like, you know, everyone was watching. It was like a bit of a show. Yeah. And then so they're kissing and all this stuff, and
wow.
And basically there was a stage next to the DJ box that was like, you know, had a spotlight on it, and like people were up there, you know, like fully cutting shapes and stuff. And him and her got on the stage and like started like having sex.
What?
Just, crazy story that come to mind. What about you? You got
Well, I wouldn't say it's crazy, but it's on a similar sort of thing, really. But I remember I was me and Wooly used to hold parties together, and we held a couple of parties at Brizzy and so on, and on the Sunshine Coast as well, which is where we live, or I live. Anyway, we held this gig at 240V, which is a club on the Sunshine Coast, regularly, and it was called Ibiza Uncovered. Remember that, Wooly?
Yeah.
And anyway, we held this gig one time, and in the DJ booth, you've got like the decks, and you've got literally a booth where you can walk into, and that's where it is. And on the outside, you've got this sort of shield that you can see straight through. So anyway, you got to walk up, and here's this girl. These two girls are dancing. Clearly, they've had a good night. They were charging. It would have been probably, I don't know, 1 or 2 a.m. So by that stage, you can tell they were definitely well and truly off their guts a little bit. And they were like looking at me, and they were like, "Oh," and I'm sitting there trying to concentrate on mixing, and she's looking at me smiling, and I'm thinking, what are these girls up to? One of them looks at me, whispers in her ear, and she just goes, "Oi," flips the rack up. I'm sitting there, I'm like, and everyone was looking at her, or both of them, and the other girl did it as well.
Nice.
In front of everyone, and she didn't care, and I'm thinking, holy hell, and I'm like trying to mix. I'm sitting there just going, what do I do here? It's so awkward.
Well, I once did a 6-hour set in London, and there's a guy, he's passed away, unfortunately, a guy called Rue, and he used to do, like, so Andy Farley's, you know, the 10-hour sets that he does now?
Yeah.
So they started, I'm pretty sure this is right, they started as like pure Andy Farley.
Oh, yeah.
And they were the 6-hour things, and then I think it sort of morphed from there. And we did a pure Paul Glazby. So it would have been 2014, and 2016. The reason I know that is because me and my ex had split up that year, so I was like single, ready to mingle. And have you ever seen Police Academy?
Yes, of course.
Yes. Right, you know the bit where he's giving the speech and there's that. So basically that happened. This bird got up on the stage and then like hid in the DJ box. Yeah.
Oh,
that's gold.
Classic scene. That is
crazy, eh? Some things you see, it's like, what the hell?
Well, how are we doing for time?
Wait, it was just
Dead
gone
on an
past
hour.
5.
How long have you got?
Well, Ben starts his set at 5, so he's 5 minutes in, so
We should wrap it up then.
let's wrap it up.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh, mate. Thanks
May
again.
as well finish on a blowjob.
Yeah.
That is a classic scene, eh? Because he's like trying to speak and going like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, imagine trying to mix.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was saying before. It's like, whoa, it's really difficult. Concentration goes.
Oh, thanks again, Paul.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Bloody,
Let's
that's
catch up.
been awesome.
We'll do a part 3 soon.
Yeah.
It's great.
Mate, I've been loving your podcast.
Yeah.
Keep it up. Keep it going. I like how you rebranded it to the Hard House History
Hard
podcast
House History,
now.
yeah. So I had someone contact me a few days ago, and they were saying some of the things that have been said on the podcast are not actually true. I said, look, this is not Hard House History is not a legal definition.
Yeah.
I said it's just stories.
Yeah, that's
and sometimes people are going to disagree.
Yeah.
that's right.
So, but yeah, it's been really good. Like I've learned a lot, and yeah, it's we've got some good guests lined up. I'm not sure when this is coming out, but next week we've got I did an episode with Lisa Lashes and Paul Maddox while we were in the studio. We did an episode there, which was cool, and
Really
then just interviewed the guy that did the Tony DeVee documentary.
Oh yeah, that was
cool.
a rad documentary too.
And then Tony DeVee's sister,
Jane.
Jane, yep,
Yeah.
she's coming on. I think next. No, I've got Billy Bunter next week.
Oh, wicked.
Billy Bunter, yeah,
and then
yeah.
Jane and Chris Liberator.
Yeah, nice.
Techno DJ.
Yeah.
Yep, so he's coming on.
Yeah.
Fergie's coming on next year in January.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's going all right.
Shit.
So what about? I know we're supposed to wrap it up, but I can't help but ask questions. Where do you see yourself going now, Paul, in terms of musically? What's
good question.
Well, I keep having ideas for tracks. I mean, I've been doing quite a bit of stuff with Frank Farrell.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
When I was back in the UK, I went down to because we've been doing a lot of stuff virtually, so we just get on Zoom and do the tracks. So the first 4 or 5 I did with Frank were on that basis, but then he said, "Look, when you're over, come stay.
Yeah.
We'll try and get a couple of tracks done," which we did. And the second track that we did is quite different.
Yeah.
I'll play it tonight. But it is quite different. Like the arrangement, it's more like it's a hard house track, but it's really got like trance, but not trance like melodic trance. Trance like that real repetitive sort of like
hypnotic sort of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that, and it drops into a breakdown about a minute in, and then the next 6 minutes he just runs. And I said to him, I think I can really see doing a series of these tracks. And I was talking to Ben Stevens last night, and I think what we're going to do is, because the Vicious Circle catalogue next year is going to be a lot of Paul Glazby and Frank Farrell, Paul Glazby and Frank Farrell, Paul Glazby and Frank Farrell, So I said to Frank, why don't we pursue that particular style and then come up with a different name, just so that we can put more stuff out quicker, So that's definitely something we're going to
really
look
cool,
at.
man.
Yeah, I always remember a set that I did at Hidden, which was Will from Frantic. It was his club in London. It was like in these train arches. It was a Sunday night. I drove down there, and the first sort of 15-20 minutes that I played, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember the exact order, but I think it was like the Fruit Loop, Show Me Love. Remember that track on Triple A?
Yeah.
That
Show Me
into the Baby Doc mix of Don't Stop, into E&M's Annihilation. So there was just like, it was just driving, hardly any breakdown, And I said to Frank, if we can do some tracks, some other ones like this, where you just play and there's no real breakdown for 20-30 minutes, like that, that, and then drop into something epic, that's that energy transfer we were talking about before.
I was listening to Kick It again this morning, and I was just listening and really analysing it, ripping it apart as a producer would. And I'm listening to it, I'm just thinking, man, this track's, it's hypnotic as fuck. It's just something about it. It's so simple, but it just keeps going.
Yeah.
And then I played your original Beautiful as well, straight after it. And I'm thinking, man, these tracks, they are timeless. They are that's such good music. And you can listen to that stuff 20 years from now, it's still going to sound the same. Yeah.
Well, usually if something's lasted 25 years, it'll last another 25.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
It's just good music, if it stands that test of time.
I've got to admit, like Ben Stevens, because I kept, messaging, can you send me this track? Can you send me this track? And he said, look, I'm just going to set you up with an account on Toolbox. He said, so you can just go on, pick whatever you want, and then it'll just zero out your balance when so I can just go and buy stuff for free.
Yeah.
So I went on and I was listening to all this like new stuff that's out. There's fucking, I mean, no disrespect to anyone, but there's a lot of shit out there. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And
I feel you.
Yeah, so like Ben said last night on, when he feels like it needed me to come back into Vicious Circle to sort of, steer it a bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that, because that's one of the things I literally said to Steve today. I said, I think, Vicious is one of my favourite labels in the hard house scene, at least. And I've always loved almost every single release that's come out. It's always been quality. But I mean, in recent times, not saying it's not quality, but when you were at the helm of it, every release was just, oh man, this is mint. But I think over time, without you being there, sort of.
Well, I think, to be fair, I think because technology's evolved while I've been out of it. Like when I've gone to gigs, like sometimes I'm looking at the mixer, I'm thinking, what the fuck do I press here? You know, like, because everything's kind of advanced while I've been away.
Yeah.
But because of that advancement, it means pretty much anybody can just get on a laptop now and start knocking tracks out.
For sure.
Whereas, you know, back when I was running Vicious Circle, not so much. You know, like you kind of needed to go in with a Maddox or an Ingo or a Paul J. You know, you'd have to go in with an engineer.
For sure.
So that kind of maintained at least some level of quality.
Yeah.
But even back then, like I'd get, before Alpha Magic, the distribution company went
Alpha
bust, you know, I used to get 20, 30 records a week, and some of them would be fucking shit as well.
Yeah.
So there's always been, you know, a lot of stuff that people have listened to and gone, yeah, that's all right. I'll put that out. And then someone who's more discerning goes, nah.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
But there'll be people that listen to my stuff and go, that's dog shit. So horses for courses, really.
Well, that's true as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I think that's it, mate. I think we should wrap it up.
Let him go.
That was really
Let's go and
good.
see Ben Stevens.
Yeah.
What time's he
awesome.
on?
Started
Now.
10, 15 minutes
let's
ago.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
He's a nice.